Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Today we are going to learn about applications of spectral theorem. So last time we proved spectral theorem and I discussed how to diagonalize a quadratic form. How to diagonalize a quadratic form. So quadratic form, let us say in n variables. Okay. This is given by the following formula: x1 up to xn times a real symmetric matrix times x1 up to xn, where A is a real symmetric matrix. So suppose that my quadratic form is in two variables, x and y, and this is equal to ax square plus by square plus 2cxy. Then we can write this as xy times the symmetric matrix A, and then B, and C here and C here, and xy. Okay, and we do similar thing in n dimensions. Our purpose is to understand what is the locus of this equation. Okay, what is qxy equal to some constant c? What is the shape of this curve? And similarly, we can think of an equation in three variables and ask what is the shape in dimension 3. It will be represented by some surface. And we can talk about ellipsoids, etc., even in higher dimension sphere. Okay, so the purpose is to recognize using spectral theorem what is the shape of the surface or the curve which is given by a homogeneous polynomial of degree 2 in many variables. And this is done by diagonalizing it, because if we have the equation where there is no mixed term, we can quickly recognize what it represents. So spectral theorem will allow us to diagonalize the given quadratic form. Okay, and I explained this last time, and today I want to give some examples. So we have a real symmetric matrix Aij. The quadratic form associated with A is this map. Take a vector in Rn, and the output is a real number. So quadratic form is a function. It is a function from Rn to R. The inputs are vectors, output is real number, and this is given by this formula Qx equal to x transpose Ax. Okay. Now this is summation Aij xi xj. If you multiply these three matrices, you will get this. And consider the I equal to j term will give you xi square, and when I is not equal to j, I get these mixed terms. Okay, so that is the definition of quadratic form defined on Rn. Suppose A is in particular a diagonal matrix. A is very simple diagonal matrix. Diagonal matrix is symmetric. So in that case, there are no off diagonal entries. There are no off diagonal entries, and so this term will become 0 when A is given by a diagonal matrix. Then Qx is simply lambda 1 x1 square, lambda 2 x2 square, lambda n xn square, because we are only dealing with this term. Yeah, and all the aii are lambda I. So now this is a nice equation because there are no mixed terms, and we can recognize this. We will see that using eigenvalues of the real symmetric matrix, we can actually recognize what is the geometric shape which is represented by this quadratic form. This is called a diagonal form. Okay, and our effort will be to diagonalize a given quadratic form. How do we do it? So suppose I have this very simple 2 by 2 real symmetric matrix, and I look at the quadratic form which is defined by this real symmetric matrix and x1 x2. So if you take X transpose AX, it is like this. Okay, there is a mixed term for X1, X2, which is sum of these two terms. Okay, this is the sum of these two terms. All right, so suppose A is real symmetric and U is orthogonal, and U transpose AU is this diagonal matrix. That is the conclusion of the spectral theorem for real symmetric matrix. It says that real symmetric matrix has a basis of eigenvectors, yeah, which form orthonormal basis of Rn. And if I construct the matrix U, whose column vectors are the eigenvectors of A, then U transpose AU is diagonal matrix. U transpose in this case is simply U inverse. So this diagonal matrix is actually similar to the given symmetric matrix. D and A are similar. Okay, and that is the reason that they will give rise to the same shape. Okay, so U transpose U inverse, and I get U inverse AU is the diagonal matrix. Now I make a change of coordinates. Yeah, these mixed terms indicate that if suppose this equation represented an ellipse, then ellipse has a major axis and minor axis, and when the equation has mixed terms, the major axis and minor axis will not point in the direction of x axis and y axis. They'll point in some other directions. Yeah, and so these are the directions. So we have to change the coordinates to get rid of this mixed term, and that change of coordinates is actually this. Okay, so in school you learn change of coordinates using trigonometric functions, but now we have a very simplified approach. Yeah, very simplified approach using linear algebra, that the change of coordinates will be given by x equal to uy, and in this new coordinates y1, y2, yn, the mixed terms, they will disappear. The quadratic form will be given by diagonal form. So in this new coordinate system y1, y2, yn, I can draw the figure, and then you recognize what it is. Okay, so if I use the spectral theorem, this diagonal form, then X transpose AX, A is equal to U transpose AU, U transpose, A, because of U transpose AU equal to D, A becomes U transpose DU transpose. Okay, so here X transpose AX will be equal to UD U transpose. I think there is a mistake here. This should be U A U transpose Y. But I'm writing the new coordinates, and old coordinates are related by this equation, x equal to uy. Okay, so therefore I have y transpose dy here, y transpose dy, and so y transpose dy is equal to this diagonal form, because D is a diagonal matrix, and this is the quadratic form which is in the y coordinates. This is the quadratic form which is induced by the diagonal matrix, and therefore this is the diagonal form in y coordinates. Okay, yeah. So this is the procedure. This is the procedure to diagonalize a quadratic form. I have to first diagonalize the real symmetric matrix which is representing the quadratic form. Find the eigenvalues, find the eigenvectors, and then take the matrix U, whose column vectors are the eigenvectors which form orthonormal basis of Rn, and then write your Qx, substitute A, yeah, substitute A as UA U transpose, and then this is given by this equation. Okay, it becomes the Qx become diagonal form. So let us see this in some example. So look at, let us determine the orthogonal matrix U, which reduces the quadratic form 2x1 square plus 4x1 x2 plus 5x2 square to diagonal form. What is the procedure? First, I will write Qx as x transpose Ax, where A is a real symmetric matrix. This is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, and the diagonal entries are coefficients of x1 square, x2 square. The other off diagonal entries are half of the coefficient of x1, x2. So I write this way: Qx is x1, x2. Then this is the coefficient matrix. Remember this 2 goes here, and coefficient of x2 square 5 goes here, and then coefficient of x1, x2 I have to divide by 2, so it becomes this. This is real symmetric matrix, and x transpose Ax is simply Qx, and Qx is this. Yeah. So I look at this 2 by 2 matrix, find out the eigenvalues, write down the characteristic polynomial, and the eigenvalues will turn out to be 1 and 6. So two distinct eigenvalues, and eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues are always linearly independent. But when the matrix is real symmetric, then the corresponding eigenvectors are actually perpendicular to each other. Okay, and the matrix U is having the column vectors of the matrix U form orthonormal basis. So I have to find U1, U2, Un, which are unit vectors, and they are perpendicular. But for real symmetric matrix, the perpendicularity is automatic. Yeah, it is automatic. So I have to just divide by the length. Yeah. So determine the eigenvector for lambda 1 equal to 1. Yeah, this will be this, and I divide by the length. Length is root 5. So U1 becomes a unit vector. Similarly, find out the eigenvector corresponding to lambda 2 equal to 6, and this is 1, 2, and divide by the length. This is 1 over root 5. Okay, so these two form orthonormal bases of R2. Yeah, so this U1 and U2, yeah, U1 x coordinate is 2, y coordinate is -1. So U1 is pointing in this direction. This is pointing in this direction, and then U2 is perpendicular. So it is going to form, this is 1, 2, so it is pointing in this direction. These are the directions of eigenvectors. Yeah. So at the end, you will see that if I look at the coordinate system whose unit vectors are U1, U2, yeah, whose coordinate vectors are U1, U2, that means I have rotated the old system XY coordinate plane by an angle theta, and then I get the coordinate system where the x-axis is replaced by U1 axis, y-axis replaced by U2 axis. In this new coordinate system, the equation of the quadratic form can be gotten by using the diagonal form. Yeah. So U is this matrix. The column vectors are eigenvectors, and U transpose AU is diagonal matrix. And so now the change of coordinates, this you must remember, the change of coordinates is given by this. Okay, the change of coordinates is given by this. So what does it say? It says that if I take y to be the first basis vector, then x1, yeah, when I take y to be the first basis vector, standard basis vector 1, 0, 0, etc., then right hand side will give me the first column vector of u. Okay, if I take y to be 0, 1, etc., then I will get the second column vector of u. So in the new coordinate system, the mutually perpendicular directions are represented by the column vectors of u. Yeah, the new coordinate system is oriented as per the eigenvectors of u. Okay, yeah, and the diagonal form is simply this. Okay? And that is equal to y1 square plus 6y2 square. So if you wanted to understand what does qx equal to 1 represent, you might as well understand what does this represent. Well, this is an ellipse. This is an ellipse. This is an equation of ellipse. Okay, so qx equal to 1 represents an ellipse, and its axes, because there is no fixed term here, y1 square plus 6y2 square, the axes of this ellipse are in the directions of the eigenvectors. Eigenvectors give you the directions of the axes, and you see 1 and 6 were the eigenvalues. 1 and 6 were the eigenvalues. So I have that the semi-major axis will have length 1, and semi-minor axis will have length 1 over square root of 6. Yeah, square root of 6. So we can determine the length of the major axis and minor axis using the eigenvalues, and the eigenvectors will give you the directions of the major axis and minor axis. That is the interpretation of eigenvalues and eigenvectors in this situation. Yeah. So if you are trying to understand what is the shape of qx equal to 1, okay, it's a figure in the Cartesian plane, locus of the equation qx equal to 1 in this case. By diagonalizing it, we were able to recognize that this will represent an ellipse. An ellipse, to draw the ellipse, I should know the directions of semi-major axis, semi-minor axis, and I should know the length of semi-major axis and length of semi-minor axis. So these are given by the eigenvalues. Okay. Yeah. So let us take some examples. How to do this in a general case. So if I have a quadratic equation in x and y, the most general form of quadratic equation is this, where there are mixed terms. There is an x term, there is a y term, and there is a constant. So for example, if you take x square equal to y, right? This is a parabola, right? And if you take x square plus y square equal to 1, that's a circle. So parabola, circle, hyperbola, then even a pair of lines or two non-intersecting lines, they are all represented by this quadratic equation. And we want to see that these are the only shapes represented by this quadratic equation. Yeah. So it can be proved that this equation represents one of the following empty set. It can be an empty set. For example, x square plus y square plus 1 equal to 0. Yeah, this is an empty set in the Cartesian plane. So it can be an empty set. Then it can be a single point. Yeah, and then put t equal to root 5. Eigenvalues of the matrix are 3 and minus 2, and then you determine the eigenvectors. These are eigenvectors. These are unit length and mutually perpendicular. And the U matrix, the first column vector is first eigenvector, the second column vector is second eigenvector. And this is the change of coordinates. And so the transformed equation, when you substitute x1 equal to y1, y2, the first coordinate on the right hand side, and x2 in terms of y1 and y2, then I will get this equation. So in this equation, there is no y1, y2 term. So then I will complete the square by using 3y1 square minus 4t 2y1 plus 10t minus y1. And then complete the square for minus 2y2 square, then 20t y2. Okay, so complete the squares, and then we get this equation. Yeah, we get this equation. Now you see there is a negative term, and the center, so this is represents a hyperboloid, and the center is given at 3t and 4t. That is the center. Yeah. So y1 minus 3t square over 4 and y2 minus 4t square over 6 equal to 1. Okay, this is a hyperbola. This is a hyperbola. This is a hyperbola with the center 3t, 4t in the y1, y2 plane. And you can draw this hyperbola in the y1, y2 plane and determine various things. The vectors u1 and u2 are in the direction of positive y1 and positive y2 axis. Okay, so it will be given by something like this. But these are the tilted axes. The original x-axis and y-axis could be like this. But when you tilt the axis, and so there is a rotation involved and there is a translation involved. Here there will be a translation involved. So we can determine the shape by this diagonalization procedure. Let's see an example where we get a parabola. Okay, we can get a parabola. So consider this equation: 9x1 square plus 24x1 x2 16x2 square minus 20x1 plus 15x2 equal to 0. Same procedure, we will write this in matrix form. So look at the quadratic part and write the matrix, Reynolds metric matrix, which represents this quadratic part, and then this can be written in terms of matrix. And this real symmetric matrix has eigenvalues 25 and 0. Yeah. In the earlier two cases, we got non-zero eigenvalues. Okay. We got non-zero eigenvalues. Remember, the eigenvalues here were 3 and -2. And they had opposite sign. So when eigenvalues were opposite sign, I got a hyperbola. But in the case of ellipse, the eigenvalues, what were the eigenvalues in the case of ellipse? They were 1 and 6, right? The eigenvalues were 1 and 6. I determined this earlier. So they have the same sign. So when lambda 1 and lambda 2 have same sign and they are non-zero, then they will represent a ellipse. When lambda 1 and lambda 2 have opposite sign, the equation will represent a hyperbola. When one of them is 0, I will get a parabola. Okay.